Welcome to class. So I want to explain how to do a type of neckline. So I've already shared it at the beginning of the class, so I'll just leave it at the top of the screen so that you can understand the type of neckline. So it's a type of keyhole neckline. Let me write that out. Keyhole. All right, but this is just a sample. There are different types of keyhole. I just want to explain this particular one. All right, so I've drafted my pattern and I've just drafted it um to the waistline actually, and then I've just highlighted some few things because I wanted to explain something. So when you are making this design, you need to understand that you have two necklines. You have the upper neckline and then you have the lower neckline. All right, so now based on the lower neckline is usually based on the design. The lower neckline is usually either a standard bustier or a semi bustier, meaning you don't tighten as tight as you would do for a bustier. All right, it means that there's still something holding it up. Okay, so that is just something I want you to note before we continue in this class. You have two necklines, upper neckline, lower neckline. Sometimes for keyholes, you just have one neckline whereby there's just a hole in the middle. But this type of design I'm talking about is another variation. That's why I said there are different types. Now I have drafted my pattern, and this is, your point O when you are drafting, and this is your shoulder line. This is your true bust line. This is your true bust line. This is your armhole line, your back line, your center front, your center back. So the reason I wanted to explain this is because I wanted to explain, especially when you're working with a dress that has a cut at the waist. All right. So there are many ways to go about this. All right. So first off, I'm working with a straight waistline. So the neck to waist for this measurement is actually 14 inches. I'm working in inches today. If you're working in centimeters, it's also fine. Just follow along what I'm saying. It works the same way. All right, so you measure from here to here, draw a straight line, and you have that. And for your bust, you are going to be starting from your top line. Your top line. So actually, what I normally do sometimes is I start from the first line of the darts. But of recent, I've just discovered that starting at the top line gives me a much cleaner fit. All right. So based on what you're trying to achieve. Okay. So I've done that. Now I want to lower the waistline. So the bust of this is actually 34. So this is a small size. 34.5. This is a small size. So um that means that this is going to be 1.5 centimeters downward. That's in centimeters. If you're working in inches, that's about 0.625 in inches downwards. This is a standard. All right, the side is 1 centimeter. That is 0.375 in inches. And then, so this is how you get the slanted. So is this slanted waistline that you will work with? All right, I hope you are following me. With Natalie Bray, you use this slanted waistline. You use this slanted waistline. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. All right, so when you're doing waist shaping, you do that. All right, so now we have the waist here. Another reason I wanted to explain is because I wanted to explain how to tighten your waist properly. All right, so that you don't have unnecessary drag lines on your dress. All right, so I'm not going to go into what drag lines are, but you can research or figure out what drag lines are to understand what I'm talking about. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. All right, so the waist is 26.5. So half of that, 26.5 divided by 2 is going to give us 13.25, right? That's correct. Now, the next thing you're going to do is measure your pattern. Now, normally what I would have advised you to do before would have been to divide this into 4 and then take for the front, take for the back. But I realized like this one I'm about to teach you works better. So when you measure this way, your center back to this line, you can see I drew a line straight down. That's 9 inches. All right, so you can write that down. So that's for the back. Then the front is 10.75. 10.75. So basically the whole waist now is, when you add this together, we have 19.75. Now remember, we need the waist to be 13.25, right? So that means you're going to subtract to get the excess that you have on your pattern. So another way to do this is, if you don't like all this calculation, is that when you're measuring, you measure from here to here, you have 9, then you place that value at this or the front here, and then you continue measuring till you get half of your waist. So half of my waist is here. I just mark a point here. And so what I'll now do is I'll stop measuring, and then I'll measure from that point to the center front, and that's how I will get my excess. So my excess by measuring, doing this method, is 6.5. If I wanted to calculate, I'm also going to get 6.5. All right, so whichever method works for you, just work with whatever works for you. Anyone that works and makes your work faster. All right, so 6.5 inches. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer that to centimeters, because it's easier to split this in centimeters. It's a lot easier. All right, so 6.5. By the time I turn, so to get in inches, just hold your fingernail or your hand down on this whatever value you have. So for this is 6.5. I just hold my hand down here till I turn my tape over till I get to 16.5. Right, it's clear, 16.5. And then I'm sorry, not, it doesn't have to be 16.5, rather. So whatever value you have. So let me work with another value. Let's say what you want to remove is 13 inches, right? By the time I hold my hand here and I turn it to the other side, I'll write whatever value I get on the other side. So for us now, the value equivalent of this 6.5 is 16.5 centimeters. That's the equivalent in centimeters. So how do I distribute it? The center back here is 2.5. This is a standard 2.5. So you can make it between 1 centimeter to 2.5. So for example, in a situation whereby the excess you have to take on your waist is very small, let's say you have to take maybe about 5 centimeters. Obviously, you can't take 2.5 at the back. You can take 1 centimeter here, 1 centimeter here, one here, another one here, and then you'll be left with like 1 centimeter, and then you can take it in the front as your dart. I hope that makes sense. All right, but let's go back to what I'm teaching. So 2.5 is the highest you can take at the back. At the side, 3 centimeters is the highest you can take. And here too, 3 centimeters is the highest you can take. So the side, 3 centimeters, highest. And then the front here, 1 centimeter. So if you've read Natalie Bray textbook, you would understand what I'm doing. So let's draw these lines out now. Like this. This goes to the true bust line here. This goes here. And this goes to this point. So please take note of where these marks are getting to. So we have, it stops here. All right, so this stops here. This goes all the way to, so this is the back line. This goes all the way to the, this goes all the way up to the armhole line. This stops at the bust line. This goes to the chest line. All right, so the ones at the center back, center front go to either the chest line or the back line. All right. So after doing that, we're taking 2.5, taking 3, taking 3 here, and another 1 here. So what we have left, this is 4, 7, 9.5. Remember, working with 16.5. Please pardon all my writings. I'm sorry about that. 9.5, that's what we have. So what we have left to remove now is 7 centimeter. Now, you don't divide this equally. You take more in front, because this is where the underbust and the waist is. The bust area, underbust, is in the front. So if I'm going to divide this, I can take 4 in the front and the remaining 3 at the back, and that's fine. It's very simple. So to do that, I'm going to follow the line of the dart, or measure for the distance from here to the center front. That's 3.5. And then I'm going to just mark that and connect. So when you are connecting, make sure it doesn't get up to the bust point. Come down by like 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75 inches, or 2 centimeters. All right, so we'll distribute this 4. When you're this is 4 centimeters, please. I'm working in centimeters because it's easier to distribute it. If you're working in inches, that's also fine, but it's easier to distribute using this method, all right, in centimeters. So I'll distribute 2.5 towards this side and 1.5 here. The reason for this is because this method helps to bring out the cup of the bust. Your bust cup is going to be standing. All right. So just note that. All right. So here we go. And then this one, you find the middle. All right, the middle, and then you divide whatever value, this 3 centimeters, that will be 1.5 on each side equally. And this one will be drawn all the way up here. All right, so this one stops below the bust point. This one gets to the bust line area. All right, so now we're done with the waist shaping. Let's move on to the underbust. Now take your shoulder to underbust, place it here. From the top line, place it this way. All right, so you can just do this all the way. All right, so you need it at the back as well. All right, so you need it for the back. Now, this tightening, this waist, this 1 centimeter. Usually, when you're making some styles, you don't need it, and some other styles you would use it. So that's why I recommend that you do this. So even if you're not going to use it, it's you still have the option of using this line. Now I can decide that for this bustier, because it's going to be a bustier, meaning I'm going to be using a straight line here, and I don't need the upper part for the bustier. Please follow me, follow along. All right. I can decide to use this slanted line, but I'm not going to use it in this case, so I don't confuse you. So let's cancel that out. Now, what is the function of this 1 centimeter? This 1 centimeter, will add it to this side to make the cup more full, to make it more full. Okay. So I'm going to add the 1 centimeter here to make it more full. All right. I hope you are following. So I've transferred this from here to here. Now let's measure the underbust. So to measure, start measuring. I'll measure in inches. All right, so when you measure, get to this dot, you skip whatever value is there, you skip it here, and then you would measure till you get to the end here, this slanted line. Then you skip as well, and when you get here, just measure straight to the center front. So we have 16.75 inches. Now the underbust is 29 inches, so half of that is going to give us, when you divide that by 2, half of that is going to give us 2.25 inches. All right, again, you can decide to convert this to centimeters if you want. In centimeters, that is 5.5 centimeters. Okay, now remember when we're measuring this side, we didn't skip the dots here, we only skipped the dots at the back. All right, so that would help when we're drawing this. So just place, so the value we want to remove is 2.25, right? 2.25. So I usually just try and place my tape rule and aligning, making sure that I have this let me show you what I mean. So I usually like to get a straight line here and here as well. It doesn't work if the person has a big tummy, it's going to be slanted, meaning you're going to take more at the under bust. All right, but if you're working with normal regular size, the tummy is not so big, this will be how it will look like. So if I measure what I've taken out now, usually this is usually very close to what I need. So this is 2.125. So we have 0.125 left. So we can leave it. This is very tiny. I hope that has been clear. Now, in a situation whereby you still have excess, you can take out, if you have like 0.75 left now, you can take out 0.375 here, like 3/8 of an inch. That's 3/8 or 0.375 inches, right? And you take it out here and then you blend that. Okay, if you have like 0.5 left, take 0.25 on either side. Now you can't take more than 0.375 inches. That's 1 centimeter at the side. Okay, but this is what we just need for this. We just need the front. So I'm just going to leave it because I want to shape the bustier, but this is pretty much how your pattern will look like. Now if I want to shape it, this will be how it will look like. I'll shape it this way. All right, and I'll blend this part and I'll shape this one this way as well. Okay, I hope that has been clear. So this one, this side you blend this way, this one you blend this way. Okay, so you basically like this way, and then this one you flip it. Okay, so now we've done the waist under bust. Now let's move on to the bustier part. So when you want to tighten, we're going to do 100%. So 100%, place your tape rule from one dot to the other. Whatever you have there, measure that 7. We're going to measure the same thing. So you take more towards the side. So you measure 5. Let's measure 5 here and 2 here. So this would be like this, and this one will be this way. All right, so this is basically how I tie. So I measured for after the dart this way and this way. All right, so I'm going to cut this pattern. I'm going to cut this, and then I'll close this dart here. Now, why am I doing this? I want to draw my bustier. We've tightened the front. Let's tighten the back here. So I usually just like to draw this line up until the back line, and then just roll this down. So by doing this, I'm tightening the bust area as well. So make sure you measure your bust area. Make sure you have your bust measurements. Make sure to skip all the dots. All right, so I have 18.25 inches. All right, and what we have is 34.5, so that's 17.25. So I still have 1 inch around, so that's okay for me because we're still gonna blend this. All right, so what you do next is that you are going to blend. So open, I'm sorry, we're supposed to draw the neckline now at this point. So you determine how high do you want your bust to be. So a quick way of doing it, measure from your bust to under bust, then add 0.5 or 1 inch to that. All right, so based on how high you want it to be, when you are drawing it, you can always adjust it later. It's not an issue. All right, so I'm going to draw to where the armhole is. All right, and then this one I'll draw down. Now you still need to tighten this a little bit more. So here, whenever you are tightening your bustier and you realize like it is going lower than 0.75. So what do I mean by that? So if I wanted to draw a straight bustier, it to be straight like this, right? To be straight this way. So you measure down. If this distance from here to where this sweetheart neckline is more than 0.75, you need to do this tightening I'm about to show you. So just draw a line this way and then measure 1 centimeter. That's 0.375, and then this is what we're going to use to tighten the bustier completely. So you close this. All right, close this. Okay, and then we have that. So you can just sellotape that. I'm going to use pins to hold mine. Use pins to hold it here and here. And here. Okay, so we're going to cut this upper part away. Make sure you cut it well. All right. Make sure you cut it well. All right, so I just made a mistake. You are not supposed to cut out this armhole area for the lower part, but that's okay. I'll just adjust it soon. Okay. All right, so this is the bustier part. This is my my upper part. All right, so remember what we're tightening. This is the original dart here. This is the original dart, so that's what we're going to close now. So this is cancelled. The tightening that we did 100%, that's not what we're going to close. Close your dart, your regular dart. This is it. Close your regular dart. Now take this back to your pattern. All right, then align. You know, this is the tightening that we did for the bustier, right? Align it to where this is. Align it to where the tightening is, where you closed that. Align it. So I'm trying my best to align it. All right, so align. Can see what I mean by align. All right, and align the sides. So make sure your pattern is flat. So just align in a way that makes your pattern flat. All right, so make sure every part of your pattern is flat. Okay, so you can see what I did here. I aligned this part. Sorry, I hope my hand is not blocking anything. Align this part and make sure that everything is aligning properly. Okay, So I'm sure you can notice that this is where, if we're going to go with the normal tightening, right? If we close this the normal way, this is where the yoke stopped before, this area. But now with the tightening that we've just done and with the adjustment that we've done, the yoke is as extended by almost like an inch or more towards this side. And that's why you need to leave space around your armhole so that you can redraw. So that you are, even if you don't, especially when you're working with a bustier that doesn't go low. So this one goes down. But in case you're working with a bustier that goes straight, this is very, very important. Very, very important. I hope I'm communicating this properly to you. All right. So what I'm going to do now is just, let me align this again. I'm sorry about this. Okay. So align. When you're aligning, it means that everything has to lay properly. So now let's notch where this stops here. All right. You can notch it. All right. So now with the way this pattern is, we need to draw the design that we're working with. We're working with the regular neckline, right? But it has a tiny strap. So we're just going to draw the tiny strap. The strap can be maybe 0.5 or something. Like, I mean like a very thin, you can use your bias, it doesn't matter. Or you can just cut this out, that's fine. All right, so now, you have to be very careful. You can see how I'm using my hand to hold it. I don't want to let it go. We're going to be drawing from, let me just release my hand a bit. We're going to be drawing from here and making sure that the line does not touch this bust area. It's going to come this way, all right, up to the side. That's the design we're working with. It has to come from the neckline all the way to the side. So now let's take our ruler and draw that. And it has to be a straight line, all right? So make sure your pattern aligns. That's very important. All right, and then just draw. So however you want to draw this, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay. This is it. All right, so this is it. I've drawn it now. Now, because of the fact that this upper part overlaps the bustier, so this part that I've just drawn here is an overlapped part of the bustier. Okay, you can make it a lot. Look at the distance I use is quite wide from here. You can make it very close, and that means to go down. Let me show you what I mean. Like I can make it this way, and it to go down. So however I want, I can make it this way, and it to go. You understand? I can do it this way. It doesn't have to start from here. I can start from here and take it down. Whatever you want to do. All right. Now, like I was saying, because of the fact that this is this part here is going to be overlapping on the bustier part, we need to add more paper to this yoke pattern and then trace this shape out. So what do I mean? We need to add paper. Just add a little bit of paper that would make up for what is here. So put it underneath like this. Put it underneath like this. All right. So make sure that it covers, the paper gets to where you need it to. You want to trace out. All right. Then come back here. Let me cut this out. All right. So you can see this clearly. So come back here, align this together again. All right. So after doing this, you can now pin or sellotape this, the low paper we put underneath. Right. So usually this would obviously be moving out. I'm sure you can see it as removed. So I have to be careful. So now let's align it back. Let's align it back. All right. Make sure you align this. Make sure you align this together. And make sure the part that you cut out is aligning as well to the lower part. So you can go ahead and pin the paper underneath down so that it doesn't move. All right. Then take your tracing wheel and then trace from where you need it to start from. All right. So trace here. All right. Then this part, we just cut it out. You can use your pen to mark it. So here, just cut it out. All right. I hope this is clear. And then you would also mark where this connects. Just mark it where the intersection between this line and the bustier. So I'm just going to write notch so that it help me when I'm attaching it back. All right. I hope this is clear. So this is the upper part. So let me remove this pin that is holding this. All right. So when I remove it, you see whatever you traced, and then to just trace it out properly. So let me do that. Okay. So I've traced it out. All these are excess of paper. So let's get rid of any paper that we don't need. So cut this way, this way. All right. So I've done the extension to this. Let me get rid of this paper. Okay. So I've done the extension. So when you are sewing this, this is how it will overlap. You can see the notch aligning now. This is how it will overlap here. This is how it will overlap. All right. I can already see some errors. The armhole is higher. The side is also wider. So this is why you cross check even after cutting. All right, so now we have the upper part. That's the upper part. We can call it the yoke. All right, so that's the yoke. This is the lower part. So now let's blend. For the upper part here, you blend this way. And then for this one, you would also blend this way. You blend it down. So here you would blend it this way, all the way up to the bust point. And then you would blend it this way. So you can remember that when we measured, we had like 1 inch left on the bust. So by doing this that's why we are able to blend this way. We are taking out any unnecessary excess that we have. So this one as well, let's blend it back. So that means you also need to adjust this pattern. All right. So you need to adjust it to match whatever you have here. All right. So whatever level you stopped here is the same level you should stop at the back. Please note that. So let's measure that. So from the bust downwards is 0.8. So let's do that here. So it means it's the same design that you're having here. All right. So take your, let me cut this out because everything's becoming messy. All right. So we have the bustier. We're still going to adjust something here. So when you come here, align the shoulders together, align the SP together, and then mark the new neckline, neck point. All right, determine how low you want this place to be, and then just, adjust whatever you want to adjust. Okay, so it means we're taking this part out. All right, so for the back, you would need something straight here before it goes slanted. So before I do anything, draw this all the way up. It stopped here before, so just draw this all the way up. It will help you. So let's come down by like 1 inch. And so that area, you would use a hook and eye or something to hold it together. All right, so if you want to draw this line, make sure you close this first. All right, so let's close it this way. Then I'm just going to connect from there because I already marked this point here. So just connect straight lines. Straight lines. All right, so I'm going to pin this down. In now, in a situation whereby maybe your client does not have a back dart for you to draw this, you would need to take out a 2 centimeter dart at the back here. Again, let me come again. A situation whereby, because you know, for by doing this now, I don't need to tighten the upper part again because this dart has already tightened it for me. It has already tightened it for me. All right. But in a situation whereby you don't have any dart at the back, so we won't do this. Your bodice doesn't have any back dart, maybe because of the person's body shape. What you need to do is you need to draw a dart towards your armhole, a 2 centimeter dart, close it, and then draw your line. All right. So I can't cut this out because it's also an overlap at the back as well. So let's draw the upper part, the extension that's going to be down. So we're starting from here because that's where this one is going. All right, you can see, so that they're on the same level. Starting from here, let's just go down a little bit like this. Okay. So this means this is the lower part. This is the lower neckline. This is the upper neckline. I hope you can understand what I was explaining at the beginning now. All right, so this is side back. This is the top. Now this you can pin it, so that means there's no, you can close it, use your paper tape to close. I'm using pins because I've run out of paper tape. So this is your back pattern now. Now we need to, if we're going to cut this upper part away, we need an extension here to be able to trace this part, just like we did for the front. Okay, well, let's cut it out first. Let's cut out the lower neckline first. So this is the lower neckline. All right, and then this is the upper neckline. All right, so if you don't like the way this pattern is right now, just open this, and whatever you have here, draw it towards the armhole. Right, you will need to redraw the line though. Right, if you want your pattern to be flat, so just draw this way, like this, and like whatever, measure whatever you have here and then drawing it, or you can just leave it this way and just, your pattern will be okay. It's not going to affect anything, trust me. Let's just leave it like that because I can already see that that's probably going to give me issues if I want to remove it. All right, so all right, so let me just add paper to this side here. Let me add paper here. Let me add paper to the lower part here so that I can use this to draw the extension that we have here. So when I place it, when I overlap this, I can trace out this small section on the paper underneath. So trace this out this way. Okay, very simple. The back here is very simple. So just connect and then this way. Make sure you hold this properly because mine was shifting just now. It's not supposed to be shifting. All right. So just cut this. All right. So this is basically what you're going to have. You would cut this. You cut this in the lace. Cut this in your Ankara. All right. So all right. So now, before you even do anything, make sure you cross-check everything, especially the bust now, because we've done plenty shaping on it. So we need to make sure that we still have the bust measurement. So here, measure this way. All right. So We have that, and that's fine. So in case you don't have enough, you need to add to the back. All right, you add to the back 0.5, draw a straight line, and you curve it just the same way we do for the front, so that you have the same shape. All right, so this is the pattern. Now, I said I was to teach you how to correct this. All right, so you need to make sure that the lines are the same length. All right, so take your this center front. This is your center front. This is your side front. All right. All right, take your side front, and then you would align it from the waist. Just start aligning. All right, this way. Align this way. All right, start aligning. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Start to align it. And when you get to the bust point, you need to mark where your bust point stops. Usually, it is going to be below the bust point on the other side. All right, so that's your new bust point. Now continue pivoting till you get to the top. Till you get to the top. Now, as I got to the top, I realized one of them is longer than the other. All right, so I'm just going to mark the one that is longer. So the one underneath is shorter than the one on top. All right, so what I can do is that I can increase this one to meet the length of this, or I can trim this one to match this. At the end of the day, the lengths have to be the same. So let's just trim so that I don't have to do anything that is unnecessary. All right, so trim that away. And now this is equal. All right, and we have the patterns here. So this would be the lace. So you do this, you do your lace design. You would have attached, you would have joined the you would have closed the neckline, because this is where the armhole stuff starts from. All right, so let me show you. This is where it is, here that the armhole starts from, this point here on the bustier. All right, so this, let me turn it to the back so you see. All right, can you see? I marked it here. That's where it starts from. All right, so that means you're going to join, you sew your lining, you join it from that point before you now place this one. You would have sewn your bustier, obviously. All right, and then you will now take your lace. When you're cutting your lace, you place this edge on the scallop area. You place it on the scallop area to get the effect that you want. All right, okay. What else do I want to say? Another thing about lace is that if you want it to, you can also cut maybe net underneath if it's a lace that is itchy, but then that's very technical and some sort of advanced method. But for this one, you know, you do the same thing. So at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a pattern. Let me just pin this down. You're going to end up with a pattern that looks like this for the front, and for the back, and then for the front you have this here. All right, so that's pretty much everything you need to know about this. I try my best to explain. I hope you got everything that I said. If you have any questions, obviously ask, and I would explain to the best of my knowledge. But this is how you draft this particular one. So I made a sample. I made a sample. I just pinned it though, before I filmed this class, because I like to cross check that I'm still yeah. So this is how it looks like on the sample. I pinned it down and everything is fine. This is the dots that we did in here. Center front, right? You have the armhole area. All right, then this is the dot I said you take it towards the armhole. All right, and then your back as well, and it overlaps. So you can see it overlaps. So that's how you do that.